What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. A sad edition of Off the Top Rope here, because on Thursday morning, we lost one of the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest of all time. And no matter how you feel about him personally, it is inarguable what this man did for the pro wrestling industry. I am not here talking about pro wrestling in the way that I am on this channel without Hulk Hogan. No matter how you feel about him as Terry Bollea, him as a person, whatever, what this man did for the pro wrestling industry is inarguable. Undeniable what this guy did to elevate the pro wrestling game to where it is, to where WrestleMania is what it is, to where all this stuff in the pro wrestling industry is so mainstream, so popular that what it was. He did so many incredible things for this industry. And to see him gone is sad. His legacy in wrestling, it's kind of complicated because of some of the political sides. We've talked about creative control and some of the stuff that he had there. This guy was a star, okay? And his charisma was off the charts. It was goofy, but Hulkamania was unlike anything maybe that we will ever see in pro wrestling ever again. Like, it took wrestling from just a neat little thing to a multi-billion-dollar industry that has now got multiple promotions across the world. He made it mainstream. He made it matter. Goes to Hollywood, does all this other stuff. Like, everything outside of this in his personal life, we obviously know. Hulk Hogan was an asshole. Let me just put it that bluntly there. But what I'm focusing on here is what he did, first WrestleMania, WrestleMania 3, all the WrestleManias that he main evented, that main event against that match against The Rock at WrestleMania 18, one of the great matches of all time, where they flipped the damn script on the fly because Hogan was so over that they had to make Rock the de facto heel. And it led to another run for Hulk Hogan in WWE. Yeah, he actually won a WWE championship out of that. So, which was not a great run, but still. Listen, I know some of the people in the fan base are going to just choose to just dunk and dance on graves about Hulk Hogan. Look, like I said, the guy was an asshole. The guy endorsed a president that I'm not happy is in office, okay? The guy's beliefs and, some of the stuff that he did behind the scenes were deplorable. But this guy is absolutely on the Mount Rushmore. Like, if his contributions to this industry don't exist, then, like I said, I don't think I'm talking to you guys right now. I don't think I have this segment. A lot of podcasters and platform people, like, wrestling isn't as popular as it is so that content creators can talk about this type of stuff. And people compare, crowd pops to what Hulk Hogan did. This guy was a pioneer in the industry of professional wrestling. And just so many things happened over the course of his career that started back in the 1980s. Like, WrestleMania is going to be going into its 42nd edition. This guy was on the first one. And celebrity matches, like, what did he team? I think he teamed with Mr. T on that one. WrestleMania 3, 90,000 people in the Pontiac Silverdome. No wonder he was obsessed with the Silverdome when he was in the Superdome at WrestleMania 30 saying Silverdome. It's just it's a complicated legacy in a lot of respects because, the guy hogged a lot of the spotlight from a lot of people. But we talk about aura, we talk about, star power, we talk a lot about, crowd reactions and, a movement that really changed everything. Hulkamania was that, everybody. That's what it was. And Hogan, in terms of being like a wrestler, his wrestling ability, may have not been great, but, he was what made the industry mainstream and made it cool for really the first time. And then, obviously, one thing that I failed to mention, 1996, we just passed the 29-year anniversary. It's going to be 30 years next year of that iconic moment at Bash at the Beach in 1996. the best heel turn ever. And it's ironic that WWE tried to equal that with John Cena. Um, Tried to equal that with the John Cena heel turn earlier this year. And, and it's John Cena's last year. And one person that John Cena can kind of be almost tied to from a wrestling perspective is Hulk Hogan. Because both these guys were as white meat baby faces could get, very very popular initially, and then very mixed reactions because of a lot of things. John Cena wasn't as political backstage as maybe Hulk Hogan was, but John Cena had a lot of similarities to Hulk Hogan in terms of the wrestling industry, in terms of defining an era and being the sole top star. But it's going to be really interesting to me in the coming days. Obviously, WWE sent out a statement, within the last couple of hours since the passing happened, and I'll read it to you guys right now. WWE is saddened to learn WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. So, and he was also in partnership, with Eric Bischoff on this Real American Freestyle that they were gonna, start soon. But Jimmy Hart, kind of alluded that Hulk Hogan was not in the greatest of health recently. But to see this happen, on a Thursday morning, afternoon, depending where you are, is depressing because, like I said, a lot of us aren't pro wrestling fans if it were not for Hulk Hogan and some of the stuff that he did throughout his career, whether it be the heel turn in 96, WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 3. Hopefully it's not WrestleMania 9 because that was one of those WrestleMania 18 for some people. I mean, I remember seeing him and Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 19 have a street fight and steal the damn show, which I never thought two 50-year-old men could do that. But it's been a sad couple of days for the wrestling industry as a whole because a couple of days ago we lose Ozzy Osbourne, who is a WWE Hall of Famer and had some contributions to the wrestling industry. And now we lose maybe one of the greatest stars pro wrestling has ever seen in Hulk Hogan. So listen, if you want to shit on Hulk Hogan, go ahead. But I'm not going to be the one to do this. Like I said, the guy was a jerk. The guy was an asshole. But in terms of his contributions to an industry that I hold near and dear to my heart, pro wrestling, it is inarguable what this guy did. And I don't think I'm speaking to you guys on this platform without the contributions that Hulk Hogan did throughout 40 plus years in the wrestling industry. And, people will joke about, his last appearance being on that Netflix premiere and getting booed out of the building in Los Angeles. It's like, hey, Hogan made some personal decisions in his life to earn that. But everybody who's going to try and rewrite history about how he was terrible in the wrestling industry and you just want to be he died. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you are a pro wrestling fan, truly, you are going to mourn the death of this man. And, it sucks, obviously. And yes, he was a deplorable human being, but I'm not going to look at that side of it. He was an asshole. And that creates a complicated legacy in wrestling. But in terms of what he did in his entire career, I don't know if there is a person in the entire pro wrestling industry that did more than Hulk Hogan. So we'll see how SmackDown's definitely going to be very interesting on Friday night to see how WWE, frames this whole thing. And, TNA, he had a very complicated run there. We'll see if AEW decides to pay tribute to him. But this is a massive loss for the pro wrestling industry. So rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Even if I didn't, like a lot of the things that you did in your personal life, I absolutely think that you are one of the all-time greats and absolutely, I think, are one of the main pieces on a Mount Rushmore of any pro wrestling fan, to be honest with you. Because like I said, the industry's not where it is without you. So rest in peace. Anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.